Riverwood staff, students, and visitors. Welcome to Real Ram News, brought to you with Ram Pride. My name is Heather Duss.
And I'm Isabel, reporting to you from our very own Riverwood broadcast room. We have some important news to share with you today. This was the last week of April, and we have really seen a warm up in our temperatures. May is upon us, and with it will be many more weeks of sunny, warm days.
That's right, Isabel, and with the warm temperatures and sun comes a lot of reasons to be outside. We would like to share some important safety tips with our viewers this week related to the warmer seasons.
Yes, Hunley Bess, we want to make sure all of the students are safely enjoying the outdoors. One tip is to wear your sunscreen to protect your skin. The sun can damage your skin cells. Putting sunscreen on every morning and reapplying it during the day can really help you stay safe and still have fun.
Great advice, Isabel. Now for all those who enjoy bike riding and skateboarding, don't forget to wear your helmet. Falling is never fun, but without a helmet to protect your head, you can turn a fun day into an unhappy trip to the emergency room.
You know, Helmy Best, we also have to think about all the living things we share this world with. A lot of them are quite busy at this time of year. It's really important to enjoy nature safely. You should never eat a berry or any plant from outside without showing it to your parents first. Some are great for birds, but can make people very sick.
Speaking of living things in nature, this is a very busy time for many of our reptile friends who have been hibernating over the long winter months. Please make sure you don't get too close. Snakes are great for our world, but some are very dangerous. Even some turtles can bite. Never touch a snake or turtle in the wild. If you see one, do not go near it. Let your parents know where you saw it so they can decide what to do.
A lot of people like this time of year, but some don't like all the insects that are everywhere. I know a lot of people are afraid of things like bees stinging them, but we need to remember that they play a very important role in our world. Henley Best, some of our Real Ram News reporters, did a special segment on bees. Let's tune in and see what they've learned.
Good afternoon, Mr. Charles. Thank you for coming into this classroom to talk to us today. I see you have a hive of bees here.
Well, actually, I've only got one frame of bees. In a normal hive, there are 10 frames like this. But I couldn't bring the whole hive today because I don't have a glass cage big enough to keep them. But I do have a glass cage for this one.
Would you mind if we asked you a few questions while we look at them?
No, I like to talk about honeybees.
Why are honeybees important to our world?
Well, for two reasons. First, they make honey, which we enjoy eating. In this country, honeybees make 200 million pounds of honey a year. That's a lot of sweet food, and that's good. But that's not the most important thing that honeybees do. They pollinate a third of all the food that we eat. For example, without honeybees, you wouldn't have apples, oranges, you wouldn't have cucumbers, many other vegetables. You wouldn't even have hamburger, because the food that the cows eat, which provides the hamburger, is pollinated by honeybees.
What is different about a honeybee and a hornet or wasp?
Honeybees are beneficial, and they're vegetarians. They only eat nectar from flowers and pollen for the babies. Wasps and hornets are predators. They actually eat other insects, and they don't do any good work. They basically live off of the good work of other people. And yellow jackets, for example, will try to invade a honeybee colony in the fall and steal their honey. So, we don't like that. There's also a difference, too. When a honeybee stings you, she has a barb in her sting that pulls out the venom pouch, and she dies. And so she's very careful not to sting you unless you're threatening her sisters, which she will give up her life for. The other insects, wasps and hornets and yellow jackets, they don't have that barb. They can sting you multiple times, and they will.
Why do people enjoy keeping honeybees?
Well, first, we like honey. That's why people originally got involved in honeybees. Farmers actually now have to rent honeybees to pollinate their crops because about 25 years ago, a parasitic mite was introduced into this country that actually killed over half of the bees, all of the bees in the wild. And as a result of that, if she fertilizes it, it becomes another female. If she doesn't fertilize it, it becomes a male, a drone. Okay, all of the babies, the drones and the workers, get a substance called royal jelly. It's white, milky, very nutritious for 3 days. If it's going to be a queen, that larva, they pull out a bigger cell about the size of a peanut, and they feed that larva royal jelly. And that's all that larva gets to eat. It's extremely rich. I'm trying to think. It's like the difference between you drinking a Diet Coke and hot chocolate.
What should someone do if they see a swarm of bees?
Well, if you call Miss Pavlov, she knows how to get in touch with me, and I'll come get them. But the best way probably is to call a local beekeeping organization. I'm a member of the Wake County Beekeepers, and if you go to our Wake County Beekeepers website, it's wakecountybeekeepers.org. We've got a list of all the folks that will come get swarms, and we'll be happy to, so just call us.
Wow, that was so amazing. I definitely have learned a lot about bees from you. Those bees are so lucky that people like you take care of for them.
They give me lots of honey. I'm just paying them back.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Now back to you, Isabel and Henley Bess.
Thanks, Madeline and Emma, and a special thanks to Mr. Charles for showing us his bees. That was amazing. I guess we all need to be a little kinder to those pollinators out there. They do important work.
Well, let's check in with Isaac for the interesting weather. It should be interesting.
I will be glad to. This weekend looks like it should still be warm and mostly sunny. The temperature should be in the 70s, both Saturday and Sunday. The sun is expected to be out Saturday. We should all be able to spend plenty of time out there enjoying the weather. Sunday could be wet though, so enjoy it while you can. You both had some really great safety tips, but you did forget one though. Wear your sunglasses. The bright sun can damage your eyes over time. You should never look directly at the sun even with sunglasses on, but you should wear them when you are outside. Plus they look amazingly cool. Now back to you, Henry, Bess, and Isabel.
Great tip, Isaac. Well, we all learned a lot today. We should be ready to enjoy the great outdoors. Before we go, though, Henley Bess, what's on the lunch menu for today?
Isabel, the cafeteria is serving a bright leaf hot dog with chili or chili cheeseburger. They come with baked seasoned fries or homemade baked beans and fresh fruit. No Gold Rush juice. Great! We hope everyone has a fun and safe weekend. Remember, at